Kia ora koutou, happy St. Patrick's Day, and welcome to Frogs on Friday. Coming up on today's show, we will go through Mahi Media, where I'm sorry to say I'm going to be talking about cost of living again. We'll also go through some of this week's hot jobs, both in New Zealand and abroad. And I'm thrilled to be joined by Peter Crestani from Wellington to go through some updates on what's happening in the Wellington Market at the moment. And we'll finish off with our polls as usual. So let's head into Mahi Media. Okay, so we know that the cost of living crisis has been hitting hard, and now there's some new research out from AUT that shows that 7% of Kiwi workers hold multiple jobs. So there are clearly lots of people who cut costs and have done all they can to be able to combat this. So, you know, you've gone out there and cancelled your multiple TV or music subscriptions. The smashed avocado was gone years ago, but then there's still that gap and it's still not quite enough to get by. So it looks like for some people, the only option is to bring in an additional paycheck. Now, I guess that's not really that surprising, but I have to look at the dangers of this, is that those extra hours are also going to take their toll, and you do run the risk of burnout. So I guess it's about balancing the financial well-being with your general health and wellness. But you're going to know what's best for you and your whānau. So that's it for Mahi Media this week. Let's go take a look at some of the hot jobs that are coming across New Zealand. Okay, so first up we have a temp role for NZ, which is a distribution officer. This one's based at Mount Wellington, and I've had a lot to do with this particular client. So for this one, it's interesting. So although you're working within distribution, the company is a global leading medical technology and device company. So they're not so concerned about if you've had warehousing or similar experience before, and sometimes it can be a really good foot in the door into the industry. So looking at people from a range of different backgrounds, particularly if you have an interest in the health sector, whether that's science graduate, health, medical, or I guess the more classical, if it's something that you've been doing already. So to find out more about this role, get in touch with Scott in our Auckland team. Okay, and then I've roped Peter into telling us a little bit more about the policy analyst role that's run in Wellington.
Thank you, Shannon. This role reports to a really good manager. It's a well-established team. There's two components to the team. One has a data analytical side to provide background data and evidence so that the policy people can use that evidence to develop good strategies. So looking for someone who's really good with stakeholder engagement. It's a big P policy, long-term strategy kind of role. The person probably needs a little bit of experience, 18 months, 2 years, someone that's looking for a change. It'd be a great development opportunity. You need to be able to write write well, have good analytical skills, and the kind of thinking that they have in this sort of role is what is this particular sector going to look like in 10 years' time? What are the influences, things like IT, productivity changes, international markets. So it's a really interesting role if you really like that long-term thinking. So if you're interested, give Sophia a call or drop her an email. We'd love to hear from you.
Excellent. Now, as I said, we'll look at some of the roles that we've got further afield as well. As always, we'd love to keep you in New Zealand, but if you do feel the need to head off to Australia or the UK, we have you covered there as well. So here's a couple of the roles across Australia and the UK. All right, so first up, we have an HR coordinator role based in London. As I said, there's a range of different roles with the team setting up in London in the UK. So this is just one of the many that are coming along, but great to be able to connect you with the team, Hannah and the team over in London, if you are making the move.
Hello everyone. This new to market role is with a national ASX industry leader. You'll be in a mid-sized finance team of about 15 people reporting to the financial controller. Your role is a blend of financial and management accounting with a strong focus on the audit process. You will be required to provide all requested documentation and assist in the preparation of financial statements. You will also own cash flow reporting and analyses, as well as partnering with the business to complete cost centre reporting. CPA qualified, this role is paying around 110 plus super and will allow you to work from home 3 to 4 days a week. Please contact me on 02 8270 9720 if you'd like to know more. Thank you.
So, Peter, what's happening in the Wellington market?
Well, nothing like that video shows at the moment. It's not a great day here. Windy and wet. It's not Wellington on a good day, I'm afraid.
It sounds like classic Wellington, maybe.
Yeah, that video does look a little bit deceiving on a day like today, should we put it that way. So the market here, I looked at the SEEK stats just before we came on, and it's quite interesting reading. So February 22 versus February 23, the number of job ads are down 13% in Wellington. Applications are also in that time period are down 7%. And month on month, so January to February, the stats are that it's the same number of jobs advertised on SEEK. There's some really noticeable changes or notable changes as well. So one is in IT, and that is down 34%. So quite a significant change in that sector. And I know from other IT recruiters, I know that it's been a lot quieter market for them just recently, since Christmas. Hospitality and tourism is up 69%, which is not surprising. And it's so difficult now for hospitality to get people, and they're often not open a couple of days a week to give their staff time, because it is really quite stressful for some of them. So there are some of the notable changes. One thing we've found in the government sector, the contracting market's been a bit quieter than normal. We would normally expect. Coming from Christmas, it starts picking up February into March. We are seeing a little bit of that just in the last week or two, but certainly not the numbers that we would normally see. So I think there's a bit of uncertainty with the political environment. We've got election year coming up. There's been the cyclone response, so there's quite a bit of activity, and we've got some roles, contract roles relating and with different organisations into that space for looking at how's the government going to respond, what do they need to do, sort of on the medium term, sort of the triage is being done, but what happens from here? Some changes in the government's priorities have impacted on some work streams that are being cut and changed. So I heard of one work stream which had 200 people involved in it, and that's been stopped. So I think there's going to be a bit of uncertainty in the government sector. We'll have to, the cost of living thing, the government has to live within their bounds as well at the moment. So there does seem to be a little bit of tightening, but there's still work around. We've still got a lot of permanent roles. So if you're looking for work in the government sector, if you're a temp admin, Chitra's got some roles there at the moment. We've got some project roles as well in the government sort of business policy project space, and quite a few permanent roles in the regulatory and senior policy area as well. So all in all, sort of changeable, but like the weather, really.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Always in an election year, you've got that I guess that added element of uncertainty, or are things going to go ahead, or kind of planning for different contingencies. But as you said, with the floods and cyclones added into the mix, it's going to be a massive change in direction for a lot of projects or divisions, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think the government, the new Prime Minister's really stamped his mark on the priorities that he sees as important. So that is really going to impact on what programs keep going, what slow down. There's like the three waters, the ministers meeting that count the mayors today was it today, I think, or something like that, about we want to do this, we've got it in this setup, so what do you think? So there's a bit of high-level stakeholder engagement, and that'll inevitably flow onto changes in how that's going to work in some form. So I think it's one of those years. I think it's going to be a lot more changeable than we anticipated. So my crystal ball is not very good, Shannon, as you know. If I say it's going to be one thing, it'll be something different. So don't listen to me.
Oh, well, I guess we'll stick on the positive, and with change comes opportunity and all those good things. So,
yes.
Just might mean something different from what you were originally planning if you're in the job market. Okay, thanks for that, Peter. And we had an ad play earlier for the event coming up. Really excited to hold our first in-person event for a very long while. In Wellington, so that's in a couple of weeks on the 29th. So we just had our event in Auckland yesterday, which was very popular. It was literally standing room only. So I'm really looking forward to doing it all over again in Wellington with the team there.
See you then.
All right. All right. Let's have a look at the polls. Okay, so we asked last week, have you seen improvements in your organisation towards gender equity in the last year? So that was on the back of International Women's Day. Well, it's a bit of a sad result here. So the forefront answer was no, I haven't, at 55%. So again, I must be in a bit of a positive mood. Maybe that just means there's been lots of positive changes already had come through, so nothing in particular this year, but hoping to see, I think equity in general, not just gender equity, will be a real push, and particularly it was one of the themes from our event on diversity and inclusion yesterday. All right, what do we have today? Okay, so talking about the cost of living, have you considered taking on an extra job? So it'll be interesting to see how many people or who they know of who've gone, oh, actually, things are a bit tight. going to have to take on some extra work, and the more hours, the better. So feel free to put your comments through. We'd love to hear about your experiences as well. All right, well, that's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us as always, and feel free to put any comments through or suggest a topic for future shows as well. We'd love to hear your feedback. Ngā mihi nui. Thanks for joining us.